Hello and welcome to the Green Profit Academy Pros Podcast. This show digs into the challenges in growing a lawn care and landscape business while maximizing your profit. I'm Christine Era.
And I'm Steve Bousquet. We are the green industry experts in profit, growth, and leadership. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Green Profit Academy's Pro Podcast. Today, I am with my friend Don Zerby. I'm in Eastlake, Ohio, and I am doing my first on-site podcast. And I'm visiting EcoLawn here with Don Zerby. How you doing, Don?
I'm doing great, Steve. Thanks so much for having me. What a great idea.
So we're doing this live podcast. I have been spending the morning with Don's team. We did I was the team huddle we started the day off with, introducing the team, going over kind of their production report and where they're at percentage-wise in their production, sharing some updates about the weather, some team news. And Don shared an inspiring story to get the team out and going this morning. I met with some of his team members and what they did and how they are doing with their jobs. Don took me around yesterday and showed me some lawns, and I made him stop, and we identified some different varieties of tall fescue grass, and he showed me some beautiful lawns here in Ohio. So, Don, how long have you been in business here at EcoLawn?
So August of this year marks my 48th anniversary in the lawn care business.
Damn, 48 years. Oh, my God. So you've been in business longer than most of your employees have been alive.
Crazy. Hard to believe that, isn't it?
That's crazy. So when you started your business, you knew basically what? What was the vision when you started 48 years ago?
Vision? Wow. You know, my mom was a bus driver, and we didn't have money to pay the electric bill. And so the paper route that I had was a good paper route. I had apartments, and you could just walk up to the floor and toss the paper. It was great. But cutting grass for people made more money. So I started cutting grass with a trailer that hooked behind the 10-speed bike that my brother-in-law made a trailer that hooked behind a 10-speed bike. And I went around in the local town cutting grass for people. And that was my passion, was to mow lawns. I loved the way it smelled and looked. And that was the deal.
Awesome. So I think I've seen that picture. You were featured in a local newspaper, right?
Yeah.
And I think I've seen that picture you've shared on Facebook, right? And if you're not following Don on Facebook, EcoLawn on Facebook in Eastlake, Ohio, look him up on Facebook. It's an inspirational photo if you want to see that. But he also does a really great job with social media. He works with a team. Kelly Dowell and Sam is her right-hand person. They do a great job with that. Also, your person, Nina, is really great with that. And your team takes good photos. So Don does a super good job with social media. He does a really good job with marketing. You know, you have the worm for Grasso green, soft. You want to wiggle your toes in it. And that worm sign, that posting sign is all over Eastlake, Ohio, Metro Ohio, Eastern Cleveland area.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
And the trucks have a huge 8-foot worm painted on the side. So really, really great marketing. So now 48 years, how many customers about are you serving now?
We're approaching 3,000 and in pretty good shape.
3,000 customers. Mm-hmm. Wow. And we met 24 years-ish ago, or 21 years ago. Many years ago. We're going to go with that.
Many years ago.
A few years ago, when we were a little bit younger. How many customers did you have when we met?
Oh, wow. That's 400 or 500, maybe.
400 or 500 customers when we first met. Now you have 3,000. You'll have 3,000 by the end of the year. Wow. What a transformation.
I have great teachers. That's the deal. It's amazing what happens when you have the best teachers in the world.
Yeah, and we hung out with a lot of the same guys. Shout out to like some of the guys: Kenny Crenshaw, Steve White, John Cross,
Bob Tunzi, Blake
Moore, right? And for lawn care, landscape, and Richard Wentworth, and others that if we didn't mention your name, you're still there. Kevin Bohr, Alan Lehigh, right? Learned a lot from each other over the years. Some of them are going to be retiring this year. Bob Tunzi is going to be retiring later this year. So, we're not retiring now. We still got years to go.
We got a long time.
We got stuff we want to accomplish. So we're still going to be working. So Don runs a nice business here. He's got some family that works in the business. And it's a really run well business, respected in the community. You shared a story about the daughter of the former mayor of the Eastlake, came to you and wanted you to be involved in a nonprofit project, and that was really meaningful to you. And we're right after this podcast, we're going to be going to Detroit to the Small Giants community. We had the Small Giants Summit, and that Small Giants Summit is a group of small businesses that have a giant impact on their community, and also, what their business has done with their, in their developing their people and growing their team. So about 80% of all small businesses are solopreneurs, right? So they're either like accountants, bookkeepers, attorneys. They don't have a real like team. Maybe they'll have an assistant. So it's the main person. So the fact that you have 48 years in business, you have a team of about how many people? 15?
I think it's 18.
18 people, 48 years in business, a team of 18. It's less than 5% of all businesses that start out ever make it to, over 40 years. But plus the fact that you have a team, it's less than 2% of businesses that build a team and make it to 48 years. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Super, super rare. So we're going to the Small Giant Summit, and we're excited for that. Don's shared quite a bit. He's taking me to his home. I got to drive around in his nice car, and he picked me up at the Akron airport, the cutest little airport.
Isn't that great?
So I flew from Hartford, Connecticut, and flew into Akron, and I was like, I got to see this Akron airport. So I looked it up on YouTube. I flew Breeze. So you don't fly direct. I landed in Raleigh. You stay on the plane, and then people get off and more people get on. 3 people stayed on, and I was one of the 3. And then more people got on, and we flew to Akron. But I looked up the airport on YouTube, and they were so excited at the airport because Breeze was flying into Akron. This was 2 years ago. They even bought a new plow. They interviewed the people at the Akron airport. Oh, we're getting new flight patterns coming into Akron. They were all excited. It was going to add an extra. They added 2 more gates. They're up to 5 gates now at the Akron airport. Super easy to navigate in and out. So if you have to come to Ohio, consider that Akron airport. And the woman that sat next to me, she was coming back from Raleigh. Her daughter just graduated, and so she lives outside of Cleveland. And she says it's cheap. It's an hour drive back to Cleveland. It's an hour flight from Raleigh to Akron, so really easy. So that was a cute videos that they had. Oh, we bought an extra snowplow. We added 2 gates. Breeze is flying at Akron. Really nice people. So that was a very nice experience. So Don picks me up. He shows me, thinks we're going to drive around and look at lawns. We do look at some lawns. They're beautiful estates and everything. Showed me some investment properties that you have in the community. Took me out to a local restaurant that was very good. And so it's been a nice visit, spend some time with your team. And what were you hoping that you would get out of my visit here, Don?
So you and I have known each other for such a long time. And as I look back on the relationship, we've covered everything from personal relationships to human growth and development and profitability and marketing. So most recently, with your involvement in GPA, I'm really excited about that because it really has allowed you to move to next level as you develop your skill set at helping people explore both their strengths and what's possible for them. And I love our conversations around their successes. For example, in your case, you've recently been nominated to be in the Small Giants Hall of Fame. And that is crazy exciting for me because the driver behind that is all of the good that you do for other people. I've experienced it personally. I've seen it with your employees. I've seen it in your community. You were the grand marshal at the Christmas parade in your hometown.
I was. That was a lot of fun. That was a lot of fun.
You and Katrina
Yeah.
were dressed to the nines. And I love watching you explore these new paths and seeing how you align them with your goals. And it's almost a philanthropic give back. This is part of what I like so much about the Small Giants community, because Small Giants is about companies that choose to be great rather than big. So, what does great mean? It could mean lots of different stuff. And the way that you're applying it is using your strengths to help and support others who could benefit from that. It's very cool to see, and I really appreciate you sharing it with me.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that, Don. Yeah, so I am up for the Small Giants Hall of Fame. There's 4 other people along with me that are also nominated, and any of us could win, really. It's just like, it's unfortunate they have to pick one winner, because it would be cool if they could just nominate a class for that, because we're all over the country. We're all contributing in our own communities at a really high level. We build our own teams in our own unique and special ways, contributing. And so I'm just honored to be nominated for that. So I'm excited for that. But thank you for sharing that. And I'm always trying to help people in their businesses. And GPA, Green Profit Academy, the drive behind that is because we both have been in business a long time, 42 years for me, 48 for you. So my drive for GPA is to make sure people don't have to suffer, go through the pain and agony that I've been through in business, to make it a little easier. And some people are willing to do the work and not go through the suffering. Other people, they're determined to suffer. So, as much as I try to help people, they're determined to not take the help. They want to suffer, go through the pain, the agony. Even though we have the tools and the coaching available, they're like, no, I'm going to figure it out. I want to suffer. So, it's a choice, right? So we all have choices, but that's what that philanthropic, even with Green Profit Academy, and even in the nonprofit boards that I serve on, we do a lot of really good things in the community. And that's kind of that's what I'm being noticed for. Plus the company I've built and the team that we've developed, and developing leaders. And what we're noticing by developing leaders in the company, that we're developing leaders in the community, right? So my team is now leaders in the community they live in. So they're being noticed. So when you have a company of leaders that they live in a community, they're becoming the leaders in the community. So that's what the company's being noticed for. And also the Chamber of Commerce is noticing that too, this is a company that develops people. So they're asking us to help develop their leadership in the community, develop leaders in the community. So I was on the judging committee for the local leadership program in the chamber. So, and to be involved in that program. So that's fun too, developing people into leaders with their natural strengths and talents. So it's a lot of fun.
So, as I learned about your strengths and my own as well, I can't help but notice that that's what you do. It's as you've matured and nurtured your strengths and grown them, it's really like you're coming into your own and recognizing after all this time how to harvest those strengths And it's been quite fascinating to watch. You said that some people are determined to learn their own way. You and I have both been down that path, and we have some stories to tell that are embarrassing stories if you think about them.
Yes, we do.
Thank goodness we've learned from them, and it would others. You're making other people's lives easier for those that choose to listen, and that's what I really enjoy seeing.
Yeah, we're working on it.
Yeah,
we're working on it. Yeah. Oh, I've done learned some hard lessons the hard way. I don't learn real quick, but I learn really well. So yeah, definitely learn the hard way.
Core Growth Strategies provides business growth management solutions through cloud accounting, bookkeeping, and strategic business consulting programs. Our team works with small businesses in lawn care and landscape and trade industries throughout the U.S. We increase our clients' business acumen by creating business performance transparency through financials and strategic advisement based on industry best practices and benchmarks. Our experienced team provides support, guidance, and coaching, thereby allowing our clients to connect with viable data and discover their own solutions. Core Growth Strategies programs and services are designed to get your business from where it is now to where you have always dreamed it to be. Visit us today at coregrowthstrategies.com and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn. Don't miss our exclusive limited time podcast special. Just mention promo code GPA Pro to any member of our team during your complimentary consultation, or enter the promo code on our site when you sign up for one of our online programs. That's promo code GPA Pro.
Super excited. Next week, I'll be one of the keynote speakers at the Profit First Mastery conference next week. So I'm excited about that too. And in 2017, I called up and asked if I could come to the Profit Con in New Jersey. And Ron, who runs that, he's like, well, tell me about yourself. I said, well, I'm a landscaper. But I want to come to ProfitCon, and can I come? And he said, yeah, you can come. Now you have to be a Profit First professional, which I am now. So I never imagined that I would be speaking, doing the keynote at Profit Mastery. But it's about my business, actually, and how Profit First helped grow my business. So, when I joined Profit First or when I started doing Profit First, and basically showing how we were at like 1.8 million, and now we're almost at $6 million, and how Profit First and Pumpkin Plan and Clockwork, and how it helped the business grow using that philosophy and those tools over time, how it grew the business and how I worked less and less. And the company kept growing and growing with those systems. So that's what my talk is about. So giving evidence for these accountants and these bookkeeping professionals with the numbers and the finances, but also, it's right in front of us. Like, these tools are right in front of us. Profit First, Pumpkin Plan, Clockwork, Fix This Next. These are tools that we have to offer people, and they're right in front of us if people want to implement them. So the proof is in the pudding. And I'm no smarter than anybody else. I have my learning disabilities. I had a conversation with somebody else this morning that was sharing like how tough it was when they were growing up, because they had learning disabilities. And I shared my learning disabilities, dysgraphia, dyslexia as a kid, how hard it was. And even as an adult, I'll be made fun of every once in a while, even as an adult, because I'll have trouble spelling words like Brian and brain. My dyslexia will not allow me to spell that. So I have been made fun of even today for writing short emails, for spelling things wrong. So, but I have tools to run a business, Profit First, Pumpkin Plan, and that allowed me to, go from 1.8 million to almost $6 million since 2016, but also have that profitability and grow a great team and work only in the business 20 hours a week. So that's what the talk is about. And you've grown your business from 400 customers to 3,000. I'm sure the revenue has grown exponentially. You work less hours in the business now. You're growing and developing like the next generation team too. Tell me a little bit about that.
So we have a leadership team here that has been carefully chosen for their integrity, their character, in parallel with mine, because that's what has made our company a success. Certainly not knowing everything, but by staying curious and searching for the best teachers. I think that's the most profound thing. Is that we've got to have the right teachers. We've got to recognize that the learning will continue forever. I love what you said about Profit First Pumpkin Plan being right in front of you, because before we used those tools, it was really hard. I remember not terribly long ago wondering if there would be enough money to make payroll. And now we don't even have to think about this. One of my teachers said, if you're saying yes to this, what are you saying no to? And I recognized that if I was saying yes to allowing a poor cash flow situation to exist in my business, that I was saying no to the required growth that I needed to experience, not just operational growth, but intellectual growth. One of the things you and I were talking about this morning, Steve, is how do I manage the growth that I need, the personal growth that I need to kind of let go of some of the big decisions in my business that I've held close, near and dear, and trust my leadership to make those decisions. Well, they're going to make some mistakes along the way, and the way that they'll arrive at those decisions are different than how I did it. And that's okay. Recognizing their individual strengths and collaborative strengths as well is how I'll be able to retain ownership of my business until I don't want to anymore, and then turn it over to the leadership team that I'm developing right now. It's a fascinating process to watch and be part of. I'm having the most fun. Of all those 48 years, I'm having the most fun right now.
Yeah, and it is fun when you have the tools and the support. It's right in front of us. Yeah, mm-hmm. And it was funny. So Don, we were at your house. We were talking about Profit First, and we're like, "Oh yeah, he's sharing Profit First paid. My Profit First dividend paid for this. My Profit First dividend paid for that. My Profit First paid for this. My Profit First dividend paid for that." And, so we were going back and forth. Oh yeah, my Profit First dividend paid for my trip to England, and we could fly, first class, and we had a driver, and my Profit First paid for my daughter's wedding. My Profit First paid for this. And, we were thinking back when we first met, and cash flow, and trying to figure out how to pay payroll and all this stuff, and how do you grow a business and all these different things. And so I call Profit First my freedom system, and it's your lifestyle system for you. Really amazing. So that's why we're like, oh, everyone should do Profit First. We're just always like, and stick to it. And I've seen it where people try it and then it doesn't work immediately. So they do their own version of Profit First. But, you and I are sticklers. We really follow the rules. So it's not an easy pill to swallow right away, but we stuck with it. I remember you called me up one time. We were working with Christine. I don't know about this Profit First. These accounts aren't perfect. And you stuck with it. You worked through it, and it did take a full year I think for me and for you, for all the accounts to fully, fund themselves. And so it's after 30 something years of not doing it. And then it's not going to be perfect in 4 quarters.
I remember for a long time, earlier on, when we had earlier met each other, you were continually searching for break-even analysis, cash flow forecasting, tools to use this. You were relentless in searching for that stuff. And as you finally found it, you're right. Implementing Profit First, it's almost a process where the first year it was challenging, and it required diligence, persistence, determination, belief, faith, things like that. But after the first year, and we were a seasonal business, so we generate income 8 months out of the year and zero income those other 4 months, but we continue to have expenses, and they are quite real.
They are real.
We were able to develop a winter fund, and now at 7 or 8 years, 6 or 7 years into Profit First, it's fascinating to watch my office manager adjust the dials. You and I yesterday were talking about the need, the periodic and non-forecastable need for money. And in my case, I did a marketing campaign that wasn't in the plan, but it was really logical. It needed to happen. I was going to do it. And we had the money. It just wasn't in the right account. And you suggested an event account that doesn't have to be big. It just has to be there. And that would make it easier for my office manager, even though he didn't know exactly what to expect. It would make it so he wasn't surprised when it happened or when it happens again. So we'll definitely do that. But man, the options that I have now that just 10 short years ago, even 5 years ago, I couldn't have imagined doing.
Yeah, it's a prosperity mindset. So it's amazing the opportunities that become available when you have money, right? And the growth opportunities. We can hire good people. So when you can afford to hire better people, there's more growth opportunities. The cash flow is there. There's more opportunities. That's how you go from 400 to 3,000 people. People think there's a magic number. There's like special people that have thousands of customers. It's not. It's people that implement and follow tools and systems and are diligent about it and don't give up on it or create their own systems because they're special and unique. They follow a system. They stick with it. They get good coaching. You've had coaches for over 20 years. I've had coaches for over 20 years. The people we mentioned earlier, and we did the shout earlier, they've all had coaches for over 20 something years. So going it alone, is a hard, lonely road. Yeah. I guess you can do it. I just don't know anybody who's done it. I know Michael Jordan had coaches, Tiger Woods. I mean, sure. Everybody's had coaches. So, Tom Brady had coaches. The coaching is really important. Having, and sticking to it, having accountability partners are important, really, really important stuff. So I think we're both in a place where neither one of us really saw either one of us being 20 something years ago, for sure. Right.
You mentioned accountability partners. I know there's been conversations that you and I have had, Steve, over the years, as well as the guys that you mentioned, that were not easy conversations. Somebody said there's a buddy, a peer, and a friend. And, a buddy, you're sitting at the bar, you get too drunk, and he says, hey, you better not drive. A friend says, give me your keys. And a peer punches you in the face and takes the keys from you, right? And so sometimes these accountability partners are not saying the words you want to hear. They're saying the words that you need to hear because they have your back.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's I got your back thing is right. You say things that people need to hear. Yeah. Yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. And it's really, you want them to do well because you care about them and you know what they've been through. Yeah. And it hasn't always been easy.
A year ago, my wife and I took a trip to Hawaii, and we've done multiple things to the house. And, just when I was a kid, I started the business because my mom couldn't afford the electric bill. So what a change. I mean, granted, it's taken my life. There is no get rich quick. But man, I don't have to worry about the electric bill anymore. And there's things in the plan. My retirement's all set. So, boy, how things have changed.
Yeah. How many trucks are you running?
We have 10 trucks.
10 trucks that you're running out there with 10 techs. Yep. And I was really impressed with the attitude and the focus of the techs this morning. Nobody was confused what their job was. And I've been to a lot of companies where they were confused. These guys were super clear. I will say one of the most clear. Like they knew net dollars, production rates, what they had to get done. They were not confused what their job was and what they had to do. And there was a good energy and vibe in the room about getting after it and getting it done. They didn't have limits set on them. They didn't have like dollar production limits like set on them. It was more like work, like let's get this volume of work done. Really a clear, well-defined focus. And in Gallup Strengths, one of the number one rule of engagement of satisfaction is understanding expectations. And you did a great job of not only defining expectations but supporting it. And you could feel the energy, and they were totally clear on that. So kudos to you for doing that. And also having the management team there supporting it. Like the language was there, the numbers were there. It was not just, go get them, guys. Here's some donuts. The numbers supported it. And I think that and they shared the numbers, you passed it around, everybody could see it. Having the evidence, the management, the facts, the equipment, the whole thing, and the energy
there's a lot of energy.
A lot of energy. It was very impressive. Very, very impressive.
Very early in the morning, sometimes the decibel level in my technician's office is so loud that it's hard to hear.
Yeah, I definitely felt it. Absolutely. So yeah, it's an amazing job. And after 48 years, I mean, your business is still on an upward trajectory. Mm-hmm. You're not hanging on to a lead that you're hoping that, you're actually still growing the company, developing people. And, the choice map is all over this office. Like, the learner mindset is strong. It lives here. The judger, we're still recognizing it and deciding, we can switch and using the strengths, and we're going to work on some more tools that they can use. And I think we had a meeting this morning, and it was really clear that a little bit of the struggle wasn't that you didn't have confidence in your managers, but what we were hearing was how to communicate and use tools to communicate to the managers. But the energy was still there around that focus. So I think if you're ever going to be somewhere, like just having how to communicate, we can fix that. But the energy and focus that you have, you nailed it. Like, I think if that was the thing that everybody just had to solve was how do we communicate a little bit better, that would be a wonderful place for all businesses to be. But the energy and focus, just being there, you're 85%.
Thank you.
Winning there. Amazing. Yeah. And we're never 90%, right? There's always 15% to improve on. I mean, that's just, if you're not, then we're not working hard enough.
It's as though I need to practice getting out of my own way. And, certainly that's an area that I struggle with. Learning how to recognize when I'm in my own way and what that will look like. The people around me are the right people.
Yeah.
For sure.
And we talked about stories a little bit. My new thing is stories. I talked about it on a couple of podcasts so far. So we tell ourselves stories, right? Some of the stories serve us. They don't serve us anymore. So one of the things that I shared with Don is, because I've known him for so long, is I hear the 2015 stories that Don runs, but he's evolved. He hasn't just progressed. He's evolved into a whole nother person with the work that you've done. And I want to see you really honor all that work and effort you've done with the choice map and the strengths and the management and your profit first, and like step into that 2025 version and really let that guy shine through. I struggle with the same thing. So I know I get stuck in 2015 and maybe 2005, maybe 95 sometimes. So I'm with you on that. So, I have to let go of some stories too, right? Like, oh, I never did it like that, or they don't understand. I built this with my bare hands.
Right.
So we're all working on like, what stories am I telling myself? What stories can I let go? And what story can I step into that I've created and worked so hard to build up to? And we can even let things go as recently as last week. Like, that was last week. This week, we're going to focus on what we want going forward. Focus on the future for instead of feedback, we're going to feed forward. John Bates coached my team around that. So we're going to, because we can't go back and fix it, but we can take from that and feed forward. So focus on what we want going forward. So,
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. So that's what we're both going to be working on. So our team is counting on us. Well, Don, I appreciate you taking the time for the visit and also for doing this podcast. I really appreciate it.
I'm so happy you came, Steve. It was just a great experience altogether. Thank you so very much. Have a great afternoon.
Thanks. All right. Thanks for joining us on this week's podcast. And we look forward to you joining us on the next podcast.
Thanks for listening to the Green Profit Academy Pros Podcast,
the show that digs into the challenges of growing a lawn care and landscape business while maximizing your profit.